Hi guys, and welcome back to yet another video. Today we're going to be doing something really fun. This is kind of a version of what I did a couple of months ago where I ranked all of the worlds in The Sims 3. Today we are going to be doing a highly requested video ranking every single one of the packs that was made for The Sims 3. I have my coffee here, so get a coffee, get a snack, because me, someone who plays The Sims 3 solely on this channel with a little sprinkling of Sims 2 here and there, I'm gonna tell you guys what my personal ranking for all of these packs is for you guys to find out what kind of pack you want to buy or what I think is personally worth it. So here on the tier maker website, you can actually browse other people's tier lists that they have made. So I got this one. I will leave it in the description box below if you guys want to go and do this for yourself. I did delete like 2 categories here, but we have the categories icon, stunning, meh, disgusting, and delete. Now, I don't know if we'll have a lot in delete. I know one off the top of my head that will probably be in the delete category, but we'll get there when we get there. And this person adds that these are without the store packs. So these are ones that were like specifically released, physical stores, like physical copies, that sort of thing. So the first pack here is actually one of the most valuable, if not the most valuable stuff packs. So if you are new to The Sims 3, I feel like we need to kind of get this foundation sort of basis. With The Sims 3, there was only 2 different sort of DLC packs. You had your stuff packs, which give you like objects and clothing and all that kind of stuff. And then you have expansion packs. So unlike The Sims 4, we did not have game packs. We only had 2 different types of DLC. And then obviously the whole Sims 3 store is like a whole other beast within itself. So taking that out of the equation, stuff that was just discs, that was just DLC, was stuff packs and expansion packs. So with that said, the first stuff pack I see here is the Sims 3 Diesel pack. This is, I think, by far one of the most valuable clothing and furniture sets. I use this furniture all the time in my game. I absolutely adore it. I think Diesel is like a real life brand, so this is kind of where you can see the developer team sort of doing that thing where they work with real life brands, like think Sims 4 Moschino stuff. The new kit that just came out, I forgot what it's called, I forgot the designer that worked with them with that. I would say it was less prevalent in the Sims 3 era for the developers to work with real life brands, but the Sims 3 Diesel stuff was one of the ones that they did work with. And I should say, I don't mind these tie-in like with real celebrities, real designers. I don't mind that kind of stuff as long as it's done really well and executed really well. Think Sims 2 IKEA. IKEA is obviously a real life brand and they probably paid quite a bit of money to get their furniture in the Sims game, but as long as it's done really well, which Diesel is done really well, IKEA stuff is done really well, I don't actually mind the developers collabing with real life brands. So for that reason, I'm going to put this in stunning. I love Diesel. Personally, I think that this one is one of the ones that is really worth it. The next one up on this list is The Sims 3 University, and I'll put a card in the top right. I'm actually currently playing The Sims University out on my channel, Legacy style. Basically, every new generation that I have, I add an expansion pack. So start with a founder, obviously that's base game, and then their kid plays next expansion pack, which would be World Adventures, and their kid plays Ambitions, and so on and so forth. But I'm currently playing Sims University right now, and I think I severely underestimated how good this pack seriously is. I got this pack when I was a kid, and I don't think I used it much because I wasn't in university. I was like still in elementary school or middle school when this pack got released. So I really couldn't relate to it much, but as a college student myself, this is genuinely challenging. The stuff that you have to do in The Sims University is genuinely challenging. It is hard, especially if you're playing with multiple Sims. It is hard to have your Sims pass every single semester. Now, obviously, university is one of those core mechanics that you kind of need in the game in order to get that full real life like simulation, because in real life, obviously a lot of people do opt to go to college, so not having it in your game really removes a big portion of young adults. So for me, I would put this in stunning. Like, I think they did a really good job. I actually have to say I prefer how The Sims 4 does university, how you can do like at home university, you don't have to live on the campus. I despise being cut off from my Sims families. That's one of my big critiques of The Sims University. If you don't know, when you go to The Sims University world, your family is completely voided. Like, they are gone. You literally cannot get a hold of them or see them. They're essentially like in the void is kind of what we call it in the Sims 3 community. But if you can look past that, this pack has so much content in it. Bowling alleys, comic stores, the social influence groups were a really good addition. I think that this was really well done. I really do enjoy The Sims 3 University, but I do like The Sims 4 University better solely for the fact that you can do it at home and you don't have to live on campus. Next up is The Sims 3 Island Paradise. So I like Island Paradise. I do know that a big critique with this game is the lag. There is a lot of lag, just like raw, like no fixes applied. There is a lot of lag to the world of Isla Paradiso because of the houseboats. This pack was way too ambitious. Like, they were trying to do way too many things for one single pack, and especially for the Sims 3 era sort of hardware. Foundation of the Sims 3 really was not built well, so when you start adding DLC content on top of a shaky foundation, it really is not a good recipe for success. And Isla Paradiso, the world that comes with the Sims 3 Island Paradise, is a really prime example of that. But this pack, guys, I'm telling you, the amount, this is like literally 2 Sims 4 expansion packs worth of content. You get houseboats that can literally move across the water. You get those bars that your Sims can sit in as they're at the pool. You get resorts, and not only can you visit them, but you can also own your own resort, and there's kind of like these reviews that your resort will get, and it is so cool. It makes The Sims 3 feel so alive. Isla Paradiso is probably one of the most alive worlds that has ever come out with a Sims expansion pack. I'm serious. However, like I said, they were trying to do way too much for it being The Sims 3, and for that, I'm gonna go meh. I can take it or leave it. I don't always have to have it enabled in my game. If you don't know, if you use The Sims 3 on Origin, it's actually an expansion pack ticker, so you can like choose what expansion packs you want in your game at any given moment. And I usually opt for Island Paradise not being in my game. It's one of those packs that I can go without, but I really do appreciate the content that came with it. Next up, we have The Sims 3 Into the Future. I think I should say before I place this, I don't hate any Sims expansion pack. There are some that I definitely dislike more than others, and Into the Future, I never play with it. I never have it enabled in my game, so I'm gonna put it in delete. I like where they were trying to go with this. If you don't know, this was the last ever expansion pack released for The Sims 3, and as a result, the EA developers were trying new things as it kind of like led into the Sims 4 era, and I really appreciate the futuristic sort of things that they added. They added jetpacks. It's kind of really reminiscent of World Adventures, which is also another Sims 3 expansion pack with the quests that you have to do in order to kind of change the almanac in the Sims 3 Into the Future world of Oasis Landing. If you don't know, there are 2 different parallel universes, I guess, that you can make Oasis Landing. You can kind of make it like the like dirty, sort of grimy one, or you can make it really beautiful, and you can play with these 2 different worlds and get 2 different outcomes for that Into the Future world. But honestly, once you play it once, it's hard to play it again because it's just recycled content, and it is probably one of the least fun expansion packs I've had playing ever in my Sims 3 experience, and that's hard to say, I know, but I really don't like In the Future. I could go without it. I always play without it. If I say I'm playing with all expansion packs, that basically implies everything but In the Future. I guess since I just trashed In the Future so hard, I should say I love the fact that you can meet your descendants. So say you marry somebody in your home world of Sunset Valley, and then you go into Oasis Landing, the Into the Future world, you can actually see what your future generations would look like, and the game kind of mixes your genetics together and generates what those future potential heirs would look like, even if your Sims don't have children in the home world. It's really cool. Next up, we have the Sims 3 High and Loft stuff, and because I play with all packs, usually I have a hard time separating what is what unless the furniture and clothing really sticks out to me. So this is one of the ones that I actually had to go to Google and look specifically what that came in this pack. And once again, this is one of the packs that I could take it or leave it. Honestly, I don't find this pack disgusting, but I'm gonna put it in disgusting. It's not one of the ones, if out of all the packs I would recommend you guys to get, this is one of the lesser ones that I would recommend. I just think that the stuff it adds is really futuristic. I think it might work well with Into the Future sort of stuff. It kind of has this like glow to it, if you guys can see that, it has that glowy furniture. And it does add this L-shaped tub. If you look over here, this is one of my favorite tubs in the entirety of The Sims 3. Oh, and here is the clothing that comes with this. Oh yeah, okay, I'm glad I placed this where I did. Yeah, so the clothing is absolutely atrocious. It works well with Into the Future though, so maybe if you're playing like an Into the Future playthrough, get high-end love stuff. Out of a futuristic setting, I would never use this clothing or this hair. It's just ugly. It's just ugly. I'm sorry. So next up, we have The Sims 3 Outdoor Living. And once again, I just wanted to make sure I was knowing what comes with this pack. And I do in fact remember, this is one of those packs that adds so many hot tubs, which I like it. But is it a necessity? Probably not. Honestly, I would put it underneath Diesel in the meh category. I would take it or leave it. I'm trying to look at the clothing here. Do you guys see this clothing? This clothing is adorable for women. I just think it adds some really nice clothing, but this is one of those stuff packs that I'm just like, I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't need it, but usually I will use it when it is in my game. So it's a meh. It's definitely fitting for the meh category. The Sims 3 Pets. This is a tough one for me. I think The Sims 3 Pets, I'm gonna put it in stunning. Should I put it in meh? I'm like teetering. If there was like a category between stunning and meh, I would put it in there. I guess I'll bump it up to stunning though. The reason I am kind of teetering towards meh with The Sims 3 Pets is because the lag that these stray dogs, stray cats, and stray horses create is almost unbearable. Obviously, there are mods that you can restrict this with. The one that comes to my mind most is NROS Register. You can restrict the amount of strays that are in your world, but I bumped it up to stunning because The Sims 3 Pets does something that we have yet to see again in the Sims franchise, which is horses. There is so much to do with horses. They have jumping skill, they have riding skill. You can take them to competitions and have them race one another. You can breed your horses and sell them. You can ride them around town, and I think if they're max riding skill, they will be faster than a car at times. Sims 3 Pets, I'm really torn about because the lag it creates, but at the same time, it does things that have never, up until this point, returned to the Sims franchise, like the horses. And I think the way that they put the horses in the game, they honestly could have been an afterthought, and I'm sure people would have still been satisfied, but the horses are super fleshed out, and there's so much you can do with them. It's also difficult. Like, the riding skill and the jumping skill is difficult. It will take your entire Sims lifetime, and for sure the horse's lifetime as well, to be like a master of riding. It's a really fun pack to play with. There's a lot of content there. And obviously the cats and the dogs that also get added to this pack, they're fun too. They're fun to play with too. Oh, and the world of Appaloosa Plains that comes with the Sims 3 Pets, gorgeous. Downright gorgeous, especially in fall. Next up, we have the Sims 3 Ambitions. I'm gonna put this in icon. There are a lot of problems with the Sims 3 Ambitions, but I think for being the third ever released pack, EA still kind of had that momentum going when they were making packs. Obviously, that energy kind of tapered off towards the end of the Sims 3, but this pack for what it is phenomenal. I really would like to make one of those videos one day that Aurora makes where she's like, insert expansion pack here is phenomenal. I want to make one of those videos because I could seriously gush about the Sims 3 Ambitions for like 20 minutes. First of all, you get the investigator career, and there are so many mysteries to do with this career. I wish I had like a list. It's probably somewhere on the Sims wiki, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are about 20 different cases that you have to solve with the investigator career. It is so fun. Your Sim is like on a wild goose chase. Also, the cases that you get are like really funny, and like they're not too serious, they're not too scary, but at the same time they're still really intriguing and will like hold your attention. The tattoos are really cool. Tattoos were added with the Sims 3 Ambitions, and then they were patched into base game for everybody else. Obviously, with the tattoo artist comes the stylist career, so you can give your Sims makeovers around town. Now, I give my Sims makeovers if I just see someone busted up walking around on the street, but you get my point. They're fun to do. We also have the Ghostbuster, and if you guys have ever genuinely played the Ghostbuster, it is a fun career to do. It kind of gets a little redundant and repetitive after a while. It's one of my lesser liked careers for the Sims 3 ambitions, but it's still fun nonetheless. In the firefighter career, this is yet another career that has yet to return to the Sims franchise thus far. In the Sims 4, they have not done anything like this thus far. The firefighter is the glitchiest career in the entirety of the Sims 3, specifically for the bug that you get if you try to respond to an emergency and it will cancel out the emergency. That is a long-lasting bug. Ever since this pack was released, they never fixed it. If you have never encountered this bug before, you're extremely lucky and fortunate. But your sim can respond to disasters and rabbit holes. They can save sims from burning buildings, and your sim will literally throw the sim over their shoulder and carry them out of the burning building. Like, this is Sims, guys, this is literally the Sims 3. And obviously, downtime that your sim has, they are at the fire station repairing the truck, working on their skills, interacting with their fellow firefighters. I hope you realize that the fire station could have easily just as been a rabbit hole, and they could have had like the whole active career part of just your sim like leaving the rabbit hole and responding to the emergency, but you genuinely get to see your sim at the fire station, which I think puts the icing on the cake for that career. Phenomenal. Obviously, you have the inventor stuff, which your sim can invent sim bots, and they also gave the medical career an upgrade, which I think was patched in for base game. I'm not sure though, I could be wrong about that. Obviously, if you don't know, the medical career did come with the base game Sims 3, but they upgraded it because your sim can like go to parks now and give sims like diagnoses and medications and all that sort of stuff. So this is such a great pack. Like, I would highly recommend spending your money on this one. If you take anything away from this video, please get the Sims 3 ambitions. On the other side of the spectrum, the Sims 3 Late Night is not a pack that adds a lot of careers. Well, I mean, it adds careers, don't get me wrong, but it's not like one of those like more technical sort of packs, if you know what I mean. Like, the Sims 3 ambitions adds a lot of stuff relating to job, that kind of area. The Sims 3 Late Night solely adds like fun gameplay. That's the only way that I can sum it up, is fun gameplay, fun things to do. It also adds the ability to have your sim become a celebrity, which is not that well executed, but it was a cool idea in theory. And if your sim is a high enough celebrity, they can get really good furniture sent to them by the manufacturer. I'm thinking like TVs and couches I've had given to me before. How could I forget? It adds high-rise living, so you can live in apartments now. And yes, I know the apartments are glitchy, the elevators are slow, but they are super fun to live in. And I think that the idea of you having neighbors in the apartments as well, you can kind of see, I'm trying to get a photo of it. Okay, this is a really bad photo and it's like super grainy, but I'm trying to show the ability that you have towny neighbors essentially. I'm thinking like I'll be living in an apartment and I'll see Selena Savage, who is the Bridgeport robber, running into like the apartment next to me, and I'm like, wow, just a thief casually living in my apartment building, no big deal. I make it no secret that I adore the world of Bridgeport. It is by far my favorite world in the entirety of The Sims 3. Please go watch my Sims 3 world ranking video for my extreme detailed overview of Bridgeport, because I can gush about the world of Bridgeport for hours. I love Bridgeport so much. And then obviously it also adds the actor/actor's career. How could I forget about that? Which is just like any other rabbit hole job, but I think it is still fun nonetheless, and I always really enjoy playing my actors and actresses. This is a side note, but like the promotional materials we got for the Sims 3 Late Night, where you can kind of see these sims dancing, these are accurate assessments of how many sims will be at a public lot. I feel like often in the Sims 4, when we get promotional trailers and promotional screenshots, there are just way too many sims that me and you both know will not be at that public lot when we ourselves go and play the game. But this amount of sims being at this bar is legit. Like, this is how many sims you can expect to see with the Sims 3 Late Night. Anyway, I could gush about the Sims 3 Late Night for hours and hours, but I'm gonna leave it right there. I'll put this above the Sims 3 Ambitions because I cannot play without the Sims 3 Late Night. Sims 3 Master Suite, this is instantly going and stunning. This would probably be tied with Diesel for me of how much I love Master Suite. Now, I need you guys to understand, Master Suite stuff is solely just lingerie and bedtime clothing, but you need to understand like the climate leading up to the release of Master Suite. It was barren in that sleepwear category. There was nothing for Sims to wear. Like, it was very hard to have nice, genuinely cute clothing for your Sims to go to sleep in. And I'm not talking like the clothing that was in the sleepwear category was just ugly. No, there was only like 2 options for us to choose from up until the release of the Sims 3 Master Suite stuff. Once again, this is tied added Diesel, and this is literally only sleepwear. I don't really have like a reason why I love Master Suite so much. I just think that the sleepwear options that were added are extremely usable, and they're realistic too. Like, these are realistic things that young adults and adults would wear to bed. So anyway, I'm just prefacing this right now. If you go out and buy this and you're mad at me because it doesn't include any teen or like children stuff, I'm letting you know, yeah, it doesn't, but the stuff that it adds for young adults and elders and all that sort of stuff is well worth it. It also adds one of my favorite bathroom sets in the entirety of The Sims 3. You can see it here. It's just this like really like earthy wood, like kind of clean spa looking set. This photo is really small, but you can kind of see the plant that I always use right here. This was added to it. Add some candles. Overall, is this pack for everybody? No, it's not for everybody, and I do understand that, but for me, this is one of the ones that I really recommend everyone to buy. Ooh, this is an interesting one. The Sims 3 70s, 80s, and 90s. I'm gonna put this in meh, and I would probably even put this down towards disgusting. Once again, I don't think it's disgusting. That's just the name of the category. I'm gonna put it in disgusting. This is not one of the packs that I would recommend buying unless you are playing an era specific save file. Say you want your entire Sunset Valley, for example, to be set in the 80s, then this is one I obviously would really recommend because it adds a lot of great 80s clothing. And I think just for the fact that it covers the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, it does give you a lot of clothing and furniture options. In my Sims 3 Unpopular Opinions video, I'll put a card in the top right. I did a long spiel about why I don't really like this pack and why I don't really think it's all that worth it. To give you a TLDR, it's hard to use the objects and furniture that come with this just because they are so heavily era specific if you are playing a contemporary save file. That is the TLDR I gave. This 70s, 80s, and 90s, I wouldn't be surprised if it has more objects and clothes in it than Diesel and Master Suite combined. I'm serious. It has a lot of stuff in it. The Sims 3 Fastlane, I don't really understand what they were going for with Fastlane. The cars that it adds are not all that usable in like a suburban sort of save file when I do tend to play like suburban sort of style, unless I'm playing late night, and then obviously I'm playing the kind of like exaggerated, like exorbitant, very rich, bougie sort of storyline. But for the most part, I do play like suburban save files, so I don't often, especially because I live in the suburbs myself, see people driving around in their race cars here in the suburbs. So I could be wrong, but you know, it basically just adds cars and it adds some really not all that usable clothing. So I'm gonna put it in disgusting. Don't really use it all that often. The Sims 3 Generations, do I need to say why? There have been so many videos on YouTube of why people love The Sims 3 Generations and why we need one in The Sims 4. I say we as though I play The Sims 4. No, I don't play The Sims 4, but you get my point. The Sims 3 Generations should be a staple in the Sims franchise forever on. And I'm saying they copy and paste the ingredients that they put in The Sims 3 Generations and just transport it into every future expansion pack, because that is how good The Sims 3 Generations is. I feel like I don't need to defend myself because this is such a popular opinion, is that this is the best pack in the entirety of The Sims franchise. I'm gonna instead talk to you why I think it's people's favorite. I think because a lot of us are family simmers and a lot of us love the familial sort of unit. Rather than playing one sim, we like to play families. And I think The Sims 3 Generations solely involves familial gameplay. Think about it. The Sims 3 Ambitions, on the other hand, is just one single sim. You're probably playing them as a young adult, working them up through the ranks of their career. Whereas The Sims 3 Generations doesn't really start coming to effect until you start to have a big family. The brunt of The Sims 3 Generations gameplay comes when you have a bigger familial unit, and I think a lot of us love to play with families, and I think that's why this is such a popular pack in the Sims community. And I will say, I don't like The Sims 3 Generations as much as I love The Sims 3 Late Night, and I think I might just have like a nostalgic kind of feeling towards The Sims 3 Late Night because that was the first ever pack at like 10 years old that my mom bought me, and I was so excited. Guys, I seriously played with the Sims 3 base game and The Sims 3 Late Night for probably years. I didn't get another pack. So that goes to show how much content the Sims 3 base game and the Sims 3 Late Night truly have. I don't like Generations as much as I like Late Night, which might be an unpopular opinion, but you know. The Sims 3 Katy Perry Sweet Treats. This is the only pack as a Sims YouTuber, guys. You gotta realize my channel hinges on the Sims 3, and this is the only pack I do not own. I refuse to buy this pack. The clothing and furniture and hair that it adds is atrocious. This is the worst tie-in, perhaps tied with Batu from Sims 4, that EA has ever done. The clothing and the hair and furniture are downright unusable unless you're using the furniture in like a little girl's room, which in that case I can completely get behind, but I would not recommend spending any money on this at all. One of the worst celebrity tie-ins, like brand deals sort of things that EA has ever done. Seriously, I think it's tied with Batu. The Sims 3 Seasons is one of those ones, like obviously you need seasons in the game in order to have a normal sort of simulation experience, but I don't think it's the best way that the Sims franchise has introduced seasons into the game. I think I much prefer Sims 2 Seasons. I think I like Sims 3 Seasons more like Sims 4 Seasons. I might put it in, I wouldn't give it stunning though. I don't think it's stunning. I just am kind of like meh. Obviously, I'm not gonna play without the Sims 3 Seasons, but it's not one of the better ways that they have introduced seasons. I kind of made a point about this when I played through the Sims 3 Seasons on my channel, that I knew it was gonna turn into Generations Part 2, because Seasons is one of those packs that should be in base game. Personally, I don't think it should be DLC content. I think it should be included in the base game of The Sims. Actually, if you look back, the developers did want to include seasons in base game Sims 2, but because they had time constraints, and I think the official reason why was that it was snowing through roofs and they couldn't figure out how to fix the problem. It actually got added later as a DLC, and now because of that, a precedent has been set that for some reason seasons cannot be in the base game. So thank you, Sims 2. I'm just kidding, Sims 2. I adore you. You're a queen. I love you. But yeah, the reason why I put it in meh is because I think seasons is a lot of like background work. Like it does a lot of stuff in the background, and there isn't much like actively to do. Obviously, there's like snowboarding and the holiday festivals. I actually really do like the holiday festivals. I think that those are really fun. They're kind of just like, you could make a public lot that the holiday festivals come with. So next up is Sims 3 Showtime, and personally for me, I'm gonna put it in disgusting. I think that this could have totally been included with the Sims 3 Late Nights. Obviously the Sims 3 Late Night is a big pack as is, but I don't feel like there was a necessity to add this later. I feel like this could have totally been with the Sims 3 Late Night. I find the singer, the acrobat, and the magician careers really boring and repetitive. I find them glitchy too. It's hard to get your sim up on the stage, and then if there is like another sim just like randomly standing up there, your sim will sit there and miss their gig trying to shoo them off the stage. There are so many problems with the Sims 3 Showtime. I love the world that comes with this pack, but I cannot justify to you guys of why you should buy it. The Sims 3 Late Night is so much more fun than the Sims 3 Showtime could ever be. So next up we have the Sims 3 Town Life stuff, and honestly I think that this just comes with a bunch of public lots. If I am correct, yeah, this adds just like that really futuristic public lots and furniture and that sort of thing. I could honestly go without. Like I don't need that in my game. If you don't know, and I'm sure a lot of you don't even know that this exists, like that this is a thing, but as you can see here, it adds a lot of unusable clothing, a lot of futuristic objects that aren't all that great. It adds a treehouse. Hey, they took the treehouse from the Sims 3 Generations and just threw it in this pack for some reason. But yeah, totally could go without this one. I'm not even gonna harbor over this one for too long because it's not even worth my time. The Sims 3 movie stuff, yet another pack that I could go without. And by the way, this Sims 3 movie stuff and the Sims 3 Showtime were released towards the end of the Sims franchise, so you can kind of see, like I was saying earlier, they started running out of steam towards the end. Honestly, the Sims 3 movie stuff adds a whole lot of bullshit. I think a lot of the outfits that were included with the Sims 3 movie stuff could have just as easily been added with the Sims 3 Late Night. Apparently LGR has a review on this. I feel like I probably have seen this when I was a kid. I definitely need to go back and watch this review by LGR, but as you can see here by the thumbnail of this video, it adds this really weird like lingerie set that is supposed to be for like movies and that sort of thing. Adds a cowboy outfit, this weird like outfit with like angel ears. It kind of looks like Mercy from Overwatch. It also adds a lot of like Western sort of stuff that was a big theming of this. Probably the last thing I would ever recommend for you guys to buy. I believe this was the last ever stuff pack added to The Sims 3. So next up we have The Sims 3 Supernatural, and I'm gonna put her in stunning. I actually like The Sims 3 Supernatural more. I mean, I think I like it just as much as I like The Sims. No, I definitely like The Sims 3 Supernatural more than I like The Sims University. This would probably be my order for expansion packs in the stunning category: Sims 3 Supernatural, then The Sims University, then The Sims 3 Pets. This is a hard one for me, but yeah, this is a very niche community. If you grew up with like Twilight, True Blood, Vampire Diaries, you are probably right here with me putting this in the stunning category. This is probably where my audience is going to differ the most. Is there are people that have such a visceral reaction when I tell them that The Sims 3 Supernatural is one of my favorites out of the expansion packs, because they don't like occults. Like that's not their thing to play with. But you have to remember, comparing The Sims 3 Supernatural to other supernatural sort of games, I'm thinking like Sims 2 when we got downtown with the vampires, and I'm thinking like Sims 4 when we got the vampire game pack, which is like so stupid. Like the fact that it couldn't have been released with something else, I don't know. Because in the Sims 3 we got fairies, we got werewolves, we got zombies. Like this adds a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you, like it does add a lot of stuff. And the world of Moonlight Falls is by far one of my favorite worlds to ever play in. It is very reminiscent of my hometown, which is why I might favorite it so much. That really small town, like quaint feeling. I have a video where I've actually gone over every single reference to pop culture that The Sims 3 Supernatural Worlds of Moonlight Falls has. The Sims 3 Supernatural was released in a time period where Twilight, True Blood, and Vampire Diaries were like all the rage, like that whole vampire kind of like subgenre of pop culture that we had in the early 2010s. And because of that, the EA developers added so many references to Twilight, for example. One of the top ones off the top of my head is they added a baseball field right in front of the school, which people think is a reference to the vampire baseball scene in Twilight. A really obvious one is the Swain family in Moonlight Falls. The father's name is Chester Swain, which is Charlie, who is Bella's dad from Twilight. And then we have Bailey Swain, who is obviously Bella Swan. So stuff like that. This world was really, really well made, and clearly the developer team has a lot of pop culture embedded in this world, and I just appreciate it so much. Now, the last one on this list is The Sims 3 World Adventures, which was the first ever release expansion pack in the entire Sims 3 franchise. And I'm gonna put this in meh, which is surprising because this pack, if you go in and look at it, this has 3 worlds, guys. We got 3 worlds with The Sims 3 World Adventures, and I'm putting it in meh. So it's kind of like, Maddie, what are you doing? I think what is really makes me put this in the meh category is this gives me In the Future vibes. And I am once again a family simmer. I mentioned it when I was talking about generations. I love familial units. So having my Sims go out by themselves to like these foreign worlds isn't all that interesting to me. It doesn't interest me that much. Also, you have to remember, when you do these quests in this world once, they are not redoable. Like, they are gonna be the same quests, same storylines if you play a whole other save. Obviously, you can replay them again, but they're gonna be like the same storyline. Does that make sense? You'll have to do the same clues, you'll be going to the same lots, you'll be doing the same things. It's repetitive after a while. There's only like one playthrough of this per world, and then once you do that, it's like you've pretty much played through the entire pack. If you were to work this into your own gameplay, like say you own the Sims 3 World Adventures and you never use it, but you want to start to use it, what I would recommend to you guys would be to use this as a honeymoon spot for your newlyweds. That's what I tend to do, is whenever they get a wish, like go to China or go to Egypt, I will lock in that wish and wait till they get married to their significant other, and then I will send them there on their honeymoon. So that is how I work it into my game, to be honest. It's quite difficult if you're a family simmer and you just want to stay in your home world. Not to mention, when you start to add additional worlds to your base world, your save file tends to get really bloated and big. This is kind of like on the technical side of things. I'm not really like basing the gameplay off of this at this point, but obviously your game has to account for multiple worlds if you decide to go to multiple locations in your save file. So just think about that. Like, I think it was an extremely ambitious thing for them to do, especially being the first ever release expansion. Like 3 worlds, guys. Can you imagine how surprised the community would be nowadays if in The Sims 4 we got an expansion pack that had 3 worlds in it? That would be like we would I don't know, there would be a giant shift in the community. I'm sure a lot of people would have like a really polarizing reaction. I can almost guarantee it. That is my entire ranking of every Sims 3 pack. This video has been long requested, so I thought I would finally deliver. I'm hoping that this kind of convinced you one way or another. Say you don't have a lot of Sims expansion packs, or you are new to the community. If you are, welcome. If you made it this far in the video and you don't know what to buy or what's good, once again, these are all subjective. These opinions are mine. If you don't agree, then that's fine. We can agree to disagree, and I'm completely okay with that. But if you guys did like this video, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I make these kind of videos all the time. I'm a big Sims connoisseur, Sims 3 in specific, so I love talking about the game. I love sharing my knowledge with you guys, educating the new people about The Sims 3, because it is such a phenomenal game, and I think it is by far the best entry in the entire Sims franchise. That's going to be debatable. A lot of people in the comments are probably going to say it's Sims 2, but I have nostalgia with The Sims 3, so that's probably why I say that. Anyways, guys, if you did like this video, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. I stream The Sims or some related game in the Sims community every single Saturday at 7 p.m. EST, so if you are interested, please consider following me on Twitch. There's always a link in the description box below, but I'm gonna leave you guys right there. I do hope you all enjoyed. I will catch you all in my next video, and peace out.